translation, bridge the gap. Communication so real, no cap. A different language for woman and man. Decode the language and you'll understand. Nah, it'll help you out. Rest assured, women have no doubt. Pillow talk, dinner talk. Give you the info to walk the walk. Now, sometimes it's a foreign language. Now know what's up, don't mistake it. This'll help you every situation. Empower yourself, it's liberating, yeah. Communication, don't need no speculation. Just get that clarification, then reconciliation. Man translation, yeah. Man translation, yeah.
Hello, people. Another Sunday once again. Another Sunday once again. What's going on? Welcome back to Man Translation. We're going to be talking about some good stuff. We always talk about good stuff anyway. We always talk about stuff that's really going to enhance and change your life. You know, we don't give advice here. We do share our experiences and our lessons learned. My grandmother always said it's a wise person that learns from the mistakes of other people. You don't have to make your own mistakes. So I'm here to share with you. I done made enough mistakes for the both of us, and you can learn from mine, and you can learn from Dante. So I am Sky C, and this is my son Dante V. I'm the producer, and he is the relationship strategist. Welcome. How's everybody doing this evening? This evening, we're going to be talking about beyond abandonment, discovering strength in adversity. Um, we are the dynamic duo. We are here to bridge the gap of communication. Communication is complex. It's like a peeling back an onion. And it's also in the communication is negotiation. Because a lot of times you may not see eye to eye, but I call it walking through the mud. It feels like you're going through mud, but you got to get through to the other side. I remember having a conversation with my cousin about our names. My middle name is Diana, but growing up, everybody called me Diane. So my dad, before my dad died, I talked to my dad about why do y'all call me Diane? And he said, because it's short for Diana. No, it's not, Dad. Like, no, Dad, it's not. Like, where did you get that from? Like, where? It's only one more syllable you have to say. You know, Diane is not short for Diana. Diane is a totally different name, Dad. So they call me Diane, and that's not my name. And so I went through this whole thing about my name, and I'll probably share that little testimony another day. But I went through this whole thing because you know your name is connected to your identity. My cousin, she calls me Diane, excuse me, and I told her, don't call me that anymore. You told her to call me. You can either call me by my first name, you can call me Sky, which is my nickname, or you can call me by my last name, but you can't call me Diane. And so she got into this whole, well, that's what I know you as, and that's what we've been calling you. And I'm like, okay, why can't you respect, you know, what I'm saying? So we got into this whole like back and forth, and she was ready to hang up the phone. And I said, no, you're not going to hang up the phone. We're going to resolve this. So as we're talking, come to find out, she had issues with her name. She has a very unique name. She has a very beautiful name. And she had issues with her name. People was teasing her in school about her name and stuff like that. But before it was over with, before we got off the phone, we came to a resolution. If I would have let her hang that phone up while we was in the, because we both were heated. We were both heated. If I would have let her hang up that phone while we were both in a high emotional state, I probably would have never heard from my cousin again. And so conflict resolution does not mean that it's negative. It means that you are both facing whatever the issue is. And the relationship has to be important enough for you to do that. See, me, I always give family grace. This is my family. This is my nucleus. If I'm not giving nobody else grace, I'm going to give my family grace, and I'm going to give them mercy, and I'm going to give them patience, and I'm going to give them everything they need. Now, the people that's on the other side, outside the world, they might not get all that. But my family, they're going to get the grace.
That makes sense. I mean, it all starts at home anyway.
It really does. And so I wanted to talk about this because I saw a clip with a man, and he was really broke down because of some and y'all might have seen it too. It might have popped up in your feed. He's a former football player. And I didn't even bother to go find the clip because I was working on some other stuff. And I always reflect in my own life, and I always pray about these things in regards to myself. And I said it was really, I don't want to really make light of the situation because everybody's trauma is different. And I think that because of where I come from, I have a high tolerance. It's like some people have a high tolerance for pain. I think I have a high tolerance for trauma. My trauma meter is really high. So the things that may traumatize you, for me, is not a big deal. But because it's not a big deal to me, I don't want to make light that it doesn't mean anything to you. And so I just was like, man, I've been through a lot of traumatic experiences, but it hasn't like affected me in that way. I'm wired very different. That's why I always say, shut up, Dante. That's why I always say you're gonna hear things you never heard before. You're gonna see me do things you never seen before. I'm wired differently, and I think that we're all wired according to whatever our purpose is in life. That's how we're going to be wired because God, the creator, he already knows the things that we're going to face. And so I began to look at my own life, and I started writing down what I learned from going through being abandoned, being left on the corner at 4 years old. What did I learn? And the abandonment, neglect, and the rejection didn't stop at 4. It carried all the way up until 19, and I moved away from home. So it was not something that, it was not an incident here or it's incident there. It was a constant thing in my life. And then when I gave my life to the Lord in 92, I found that rejection is a part of my calling. It's part for the course for me. So that was part of my training. So I'm not the type of person that you can like easily rattle. I was talking to my ex fiance, and we were talking about our daughter, and we were talking about this is the new breed of people, like these young people. This is like a new breed, right? And he was like, yeah, because we had to be tough, we had to be tough. And I and I started thinking about all the things I went through with my mom that most people would have been traumatized from, but it made me tough and it made me resilient. So I started writing down all of the things that I learned from going through all of these situations from a child, even all the way up into my adulthood, just life. Life gonna always throw stuff at you. Like this is not being passed over for a promotion at your job is rejection. You feel you've been working hard, staying overtime, doing extra reports, extra work, filling in for people that didn't come in on maternity leave, and they get a position to somebody else. Right.
Now, because I've been there, I've been there, and they got to like not even being paid. I train people who have surpassed me because of whatever reasons, and it's just like here I am, the go-to person, but y'all deemed it necessary to like, nah, I'm gonna stay within my pay grade.
Because you know why? The go-to person is the smart person. They don't normally put
Not
smart
no
people
more.
in
They
positions.
can leave.
They put people that is because see, you
The,
can't control
they
a
put
smart
the
person.
yes men. They put
Yeah,
the yes men in those position because they can control.
because they can control them. So
Yep.
now see how that's not personal against you? See how that's not rejection? I have the ability and have the be able to have the insight to know that's the situation. So this is what I started doing on my job. I started creating systems, right? I started creating systems on my job. I started coming up with my own processes. I started coming up with my own systems, and they could never figure out how is she doing this? Like, how is she doing it? And I would never tell them. But my job got done. My job was
Yep.
done. But I would never tell them.
And don't give me no more work either, because I
Oh,
ain't doing it.
he's giving you work.
No, no, no. It better be within my pay grade. Otherwise, I ain't doing
Well, they're gonna keep giving you work. So I wanted to share, and Dante, you can jump in at any time, but I
it.
wanted to share the things that I learned, and I wanted to share the stuff that I went through that I look at it like, he was saying he went to his mom and he asked his mom for forgiveness and he thanked his mom for abusing him. Like my ex is stupid, so because he said he got beat with an extension cord and she made him get in the tub wet. I was like, oh, what did you do? Oh, I know you felt like fire.
That boy
And
got dipped.
I was like, wait a minute. My kids wasn't that bad, my God. So he was like, well, I thank my mom, because it does. It makes you tough. And I started thinking about my mom and I started thinking about if I did not pass those tests, and it was challenging. My
Mhm.
mother was very difficult to deal with. My mom was like a Tasmanian devil. You never knew when that side of her was going to come out. You never knew when that B side was going to come out. And when it came out, you couldn't tame it. And so it was really tough dealing with her. But I had to learn how to deal with her. I had to, and I did. And because of it, it made me tough. So I wrote down some things, and like I said, Dante, you can jump in here anytime. I wrote
Mhm.
down just going back in my memory, just thinking about the things that I just really learned, and what it did was it made me so that I'm not. I always say weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. It made me so resilient. So it built resilience in me. Experiencing rejection and abandonment can help strengthen your resilience. It helped me to bounce back from setbacks. And let me tell you, this is the single most thing that has helped me in my business. Because in business, you're going to always have setbacks. But growing up and having, oh, somebody got a comment. Let me see.
Mhm.
Uh, beyond abandonment, discovering strength in adversity. That's the
That
topic for
is
today.
Miss. What's going on, Miss Island? How you doing?
How you doing? Be beyond abandonment. So it built so much resilience. It built so much resilience, in me growing up because when you're dealing with rejection, it's never anything that you can ever go to your parent for that they're going to tell you yes. Everything was always no. It was always what you couldn't do. No, no. It was always no. So you have to now find a way because I was very adventurous. I'm a very adventurous person. I'm a very inquisitive person. So I'm always wanting to get involved in something. I want to be a part of this thing. I started advocating at the age of 15. I would do walkathons and runathons. And now I'm in the projects where people don't have no money and I'm getting sponsors. I'm knocking on doors. So just imagine we live in a building. It's 12 floors, including the ground floor. It's 8 apartments on each floor, 12 floors, 13 really. They don't say 13 because it's bad luck. And it's about at least people in each apartment. So I'm knocking on doors like, give me 10 cent, 5 cent, whatever, anything, because you just get paid according to, I'm not going to go more than 5K. So and I shouted them out. So I would get sponsors in the buildings, and I was always doing stuff. So I always needed permission from my mother for something, because I was always doing something. I was always volunteering for something. I was always doing something in the community, and it was always no. And I remember I wanted to go on this trip. I wanted to be a part of this Outback thing that they were doing, and I needed her to sign. And once I saw she wouldn't sign, I started just forging her signature. I learned how to forge her signature, so I wouldn't have to ask her anymore. So it really builds in you a resilience if you don't take it personally. If you don't pick everything apart, it is really true. As the saying goes, life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. And if you would just look at it all, the bad, all of it, as a learning experience, it is going to make a person that God is preparing for something amazing. And so it built that resilience. And the reason I never like stopped talking to my mom or blocked her or stopped dealing with her, because I loved her. I love my mother. I loved her and I wanted the best for her. And because I saw she was having so many problems and so much issues and dramas in her life, and boyfriends and getting beat up and stabbed and all of this stuff, I wanted to be a source of happiness for my mother. I never wanted to cause her problems, because I saw she had her own problems all the time. So I wanted to be a source of happiness for her. And I wanted to be a source of, I didn't want to bring her any problems. I wanted to make her proud, as her daughter. So I never allowed myself to see her in a negative light. Whereas though my friends was like, yo, I was telling my son one time she threw my clothes out the window, okay, in front of everybody. And my friends, they was laughing at me. I was like, somebody better go get a trash bag and come on, help me pick up these clothes. And we just laugh about it. Even to this day, if I run into them, they were like, remember your mama threw your clothes out the window? We just laugh about it. And so I've always had the ability to see through and have insight into situations and not allow the situations to break me. And I've been in plenty of those situations, plenty. It caused me to have problem solving skills. Dealing with rejection often involves finding creative solutions and adapting to new circumstances, fostering the development of effective problem solving. Not only did I learn problem solving, but this stuff helped me later in my life. Problem solving, creative solutions is what I do in my business. It's how I make money. It's how, whatever it is, when the word of God says what the enemy meant for your bad, he will turn it around for your good. He can't turn it around for your good if you don't see the good in it. You got to hold on to that which is good. You can't, if I would have picked apart everything that my mother said to me, I would have been in the corner somewhere with my thumb in my mouth and thumb up my behind. Crazy. I didn't pick apart everything. What is it? I can see that this woman is full of trauma and hurt herself. Why am I going to really internalize anything that she's saying? Basically, she's not even in her right mind. And so this is the way that you go beyond the abandonment and discover strength in the adversity. Now, most of the stories I'm sharing is in my teenage years. Then it improves your conflict resolution, because the rejection is conflict everywhere. It's conflict all around you. So now you have to learn how to embrace people that have different perspectives than you do. And this leads to effective communication. That's what communication is all about. Somebody has a different perspective. Your perspective is the position in which you stand. Your perception is how you process the information. If we all standing and seeing the same accident, we don't have the same perspective because we're not standing all in the same position. You're gonna have one story, I'm gonna have a different story, somebody else gonna have another story. Was it wrong what you saw? No, you saw what you saw. I saw what I saw, they saw what they saw. So when you have different perspectives, you have to learn how to bring that together, decipher what's truth and what's not, and solve the problem. This is the number one reason I got picked to be the union representative on my job, because I'm really good at putting myself in other people's shoes and seeing their perspectives. Like I'm really good at that. And so these things are things that I wrote down that I saw that came out of that situation, because my brother is me and my brother. My brother, he just got away with murder. He had no rules, regulations. I had all the rules, regulations, curfews, can't do this, no to that. While my brother was just free to do what he had no curfew. He could come and go as he pleased. He could have a girlfriend. I couldn't have a boyfriend at 15 and all of that. I couldn't have no boyfriend at 15. You're what? No, you weren't allowed. So you're experiencing already the double standard. It's one set of rules for your brother and one set of rules for you. So I want you to just begin to change your outlook. And I want you to go through some of the things that you have experienced that has been traumatizing for you. And I want you to find some good in it. I want you to find something that you can learn. I don't want you to worry about how you felt and how somebody made you feel, because can't nobody make you feel nothing. I want you to just examine it and see what is it that you have learned from it, because it is teaching you something, but you're
Mm-hmm.
missing it because you're in your feelings. Talk about it, Dante.
Being in your feelings when it comes, you're gonna take everything personal. Whether it's for you, not for you, don't matter. Just like you're gonna find an issue with everything. And being in your feelings, sometimes being in your feelings is okay. It's not okay to stay there, because again, you have to look at everything as the big picture, the big perspective of it all. Again, some things are happening for you. You might not you probably got passed over that position probably because it's time for you to go. And if you would have got that position, you would have been at this place and you probably would have been happy. So because you got passed over, it's like, you know what? You start to realize, watch this, you start to realize your skill set. You start to realize more and more what you have to offer. And now you realize maybe my skill set is better off somewhere else. That it'll actually be recognized. It'll actually be, valued at that point, because I know I'm not worth this. I'm worth more. You got me training people just to put them in a different position. Nah. Uh, Adaptability is a thing that you need.
You need it.
Things are going to happen to you. You have to learn how to adapt. I mean, I was in the military, so adapting and overcoming was just how we rolled. It's like, okay, this thing happened. All right, so we go from plan A to plan C. All right, let's just go for it. We'll deal with feelings and everything later,
Later.
which is very hard to do. But you
Mhm.
have to be in a place where you have to figure out what's more important, because you being in your feelings is not going to fix the problem. Now, I'm not saying neglect your feelings. I'm not saying, your feelings don't matter, because they do. But when it comes down to getting things done, yeah, you gotta go with that.
Hi, Miss Allen. She said sometimes I think the differences are means of protection. For instance, girls are more likely to be sexually assaulted, so many parents tend to raise the dating age for girls and not boys. I agree with that, but when it comes to like, curfews and things like that, because they do things to boys and stuff too. I think that there still should
Hmm.
be a level of fairness. Raising my
Right.
children, I was always firm, but I was fair. I always tried to be fair. And I tried not to make one set of rules for one child and a different set of rules for another child. The rules were the only thing that was really uniform as
Mhm.
as far as dealing with them individually, as far as their personality, their likes and dislikes, and like Dante, I couldn't get Dante to eat vegetables. So the only thing, no matter what I cooked, I had to cook. I had to fry him chicken wings and French fries. And guess what? He's a grown man, and guess what he eat? Chicken wings and French fries. So like he still eat chicken wings and French. I don't care what I cook. I have to cook him some chicken and some French fries. And he still eat that to this day. So I think that there should be a fairness, where the rules are concerned. Because I mean, I understand that, but adaptability also is something that I use in my building, in my business, because you have to learn to adjust to unforeseen circumstances. Because growing
Mhm.
up in projects, you have to be hyper vigilant because you're living around a lot of violence. It's a very violent atmosphere. It builds tenacity. Overcoming rejection requires tenacity, contributing to the development of a determined and persistent mindset. I have had to use this in my business as well, because when I first started business, business is challenging anyway. It requires all of you. It's like raising a child. And you have a certain mindset. You think that every product that you put out there, people, they're just going to love it, they're going to buy it. And sometimes you have to take it off the market and tweak it a little bit. And so
Mhm.
um I think that the rejection, it is a form of protection, but it's also a form of direction. There would be times that I would be out at a party with my friends, and I would be led to leave. I'd be like, all right, y'all, I'm out. It's like I just heard a celebrity say, oh, Denzel just told somebody, leave before the devil comes. And I think I would always leave before the devil come. And the next day, my friends be like, girl, they start shooting up the place after you left, or girl, they got into a fight after you left. And so it's like all of these things, they all lend themselves to making the person that you become. And I don't know why I was wired that way, except for that it's a part of my call. I never took rejection personally. I just never did. I just felt like, okay, well, I'm not supposed to be at that particular place. Let me go find where I'm supposed to be. But most people, they just really take it to heart. They so heartbroken over it. And
Let me go hop in here for a minute. The reason why it is because it has to do a lot with self esteem.
mm,
So most people, they want to be accepted to some degree, and it's like because you're not accepted, you're not rejected, you are passed over, and it becomes an inward thing where it's like, what's wrong with me? How come I'm not good enough to have this, or how come I can't, have what everyone else is getting, or whatever the case may be? It's a self esteem thing. It's a confidence thing. They lack in those areas where it's like you feel as though you're deserving and you went here and you passed the test and you did this and you did that and it had nothing to do with that at all. I don't know how many jobs. About to put a whole bunch of stuff out there. I probably should. Some of these jobs that you go and apply for and you don't get and you're best qualified or well qualified or excellent qualified, they already had somebody else in mind. They just had to go through the formalities of it all, but they
yeah.
already knew that they were going to hire little Ray or whomever. But they got to put it out there, and then that's the process. It had nothing to do with you. Yeah, it sucks. You get that email it's like, oh, okay, I'm best qualified. I'm here. I'm in here. I'm top ranked, or I'm in the top two, and you still get passed over. It had nothing to do with you. It had nothing to do with your skill set at all. They already had somebody in mind that they didn't talk to, had side conversations. But I mean, it happened to me. I was on both sides of the coin at one point in time. I mean, back in the day when they were like, "Hey, it's just business." That's exactly what it is. It's just business. And if your business and your skill set is not valued how you think it, how you feel as though it
Keep going.
should,
I'll be right there.
if it's not valued how it should, again, go elsewhere. And I know it's hard because you might be at a job or with somebody for an extended amount of time, and now it's like you just got comfortable. Because rule number one is you never get comfortable. Things always change. That's where the adaptability comes in. That you got to be ready and on the swivel at all times. I'm even speaking to myself at this point because I haven't got comfortable. Don't get comfortable. Do not think that you're not too good to be passed over.
Yeah, I dealt with that on my job, being gossiped about. And as a result of being gossiped about to my supervisor, the people at the job started to watch me. And because I was doing what I was supposed to do, I ended up getting promoted. They came to me, they said, there's a position opening up. We want you for the position. We've seen you come to work early, you do your job, and you're professional. And we want you to apply for the position. They already had me for the position.
Mm-hmm.
Adversity is not, and I found on the job, the more the persecution that you're dealing with that's coming towards you, a lot of times it's an indication that you're about to be promoted. And I think that people don't take it that way. It's like, oh, I can't stand this person. They start gossiping back in return. And that's really never a good thing to do, because what gossip does in the workplace is it brings down morale and it separates people. It's very negative. It
Yes,
divides.
it is.
And I
It
never
does.
was a part of, that scene. I was always there to, bring value and to, do the job that I was hired to do. Um, the cultivation of perseverance, overcome rejection requires perseverance and determination, qualities that can be cultivated through adversity, and it contributes to your long-term success. I have a shirt somewhere called grit. It's that internal toughness. And all of the things that, I had to deal with growing up, with my mom, it really required me to persevere. And I think the thing that helped me as far as emotionally was I journaled. I started journaling when I was 15. I just stopped journaling as an adult. Somebody else came on and was showing all of their journals from 15 all the way up until their 30s. I just started throwing my journals away. So the journal allows you objectivity. Your journal allows you to pour your emotions into, like, if you don't have anybody to talk to, you don't have a support group. And I think that my journal was kind of like, my confidant. I could pour all of my feelings into my journal. And when you go back, Oprah, she talks a lot about her journal too. Journals are so life changing because it allows you to see your life in an objective way. You know how the saying goes, you can't see the forest for the trees. It allows you to see your life in such an objective way. And when you can see your life objectively, it's almost like you step outside of your life and you're looking inside your life. You get answers that you wouldn't ordinarily, you see things more clear. It gives you a clarity, and it gives you an insight, and it gives you a understanding. And then I had a grandmother who was just full of wisdom that I talked to a great deal. And so, with all those things coupled together, I always never saw rejection and abandonment as such a negative thing that most people do, because it has made me who I am. Rejection and abandonment and being neglected, being by myself growing up, caused me to learn who I was. And I don't have a problem with being by myself, and I'm never lonely. I'm never lonely. I know how to keep myself doing something. I'm always working on projects. I'm always doing something just like I was before. I'm always using my gifts and always using my talents and stuff like that. My mom would put me on punishment for anything. If I left a fork in the sink and I'm in my room sleep and I don't even know the fork is, all right, wash the dishes. You the one got your friends coming at 2 o'clock in the morning and then they eat and then left the fork. I wake up out of my sleep being beat because the fork is in the sink. Like, my brother can't wash a dish. Like, really? And so that all caused me to, like, I started writing plays. I'm gonna get back into writing plays too, and scripts and stuff. I will write these black exploitation, pimp, prostitute plays, and my friends would, because I stayed on punishment for anything. I was on punishment all the time. So I use that time in a constructive way. I'm just wired that way. I'm just the type of person that, the word of God says, hold on to that which is good. I always find the good in every situation. And when people try to do stuff against me, it always works out for my good. I can tell you story after story. Right now in my business, this business started because somebody lied on me. Somebody went to my pastor, they lied on me, and I just was like, I didn't open my mouth. I didn't defend myself. I didn't say anything. 6 to 9 months later, maybe a year later, I get a call from my pastor to start teaching class. And he didn't tell me how to create the course, or he didn't give me any instructions. I created my first course in 1996, 1997. And then now that's what I do in my business. That's how I make money. That's how I make money. So every time somebody try to do something to me to destroy me or pick me apart or lie on me, it always works out for my good. But you got to make sure that whatever they saying about you is a lie. Now, if my coworker going to my supervisor, if she was right about me, then I wouldn't have never been picked for the promotion. You know what I mean? Somebody dragging me through court. I stayed in the court system 10 years, being drugged through court for every little nitpicking thing. I'm gonna do a show about absent, fathers, because we always talk about single mothers. But really what we're dealing with is men that don't want to take responsibility for their children. That's why they don't want to pay child support. It's not about that the woman ran him away. It's about that he doesn't want to be responsible for those children. So when you have to, that's why you see these men trip out when you take them to court for child support. Of course, not all men, but some of them. And in my situation, he did not want to pay child support. He did not want to be responsible. He didn't want to be a father anymore, according to him. He didn't want to be a father anymore. So, by me having to go to court and stuff all the time, my supervisor called me in his office one day and he said, "You're using up all your time. Every time I turn around, you're in court." And I had to tell him, because normally I don't go to work and tell my personal business because I'm there in a professional capacity. So he said, "This is what we're going to do. I want you to, every time you get a letter that you got to go to court, I want you to bring it to me. And I'm going to take you to court. And when you get out of court, I'm going to pick you up. You call me, I'm going to pick you up." As a result of that, I got real cool with my supervisor. And I was with him while he was doing his job. He's a manager. He's a general manager. I'm out in the field with him while he's doing his job because he ain't take me back to work. The only stipulation was just make sure your reports is done, make sure your job, is done. As a result of that, I made a lateral move and got into real estate. I made a lateral move from being an administrative assistant to going out with my general manager because I work for the housing authority, and I would go out with him and learn his job and sometimes sit in his meetings. So when I did the reports would be so comprehensive and so detailed because now I get to see a broader way of how my job fits into his job. So now I could be proactive when I write my reports. So my reports start standing out. And so I said, I want to go into property management. So he put me in the assistant property management. I made a lateral move from executive assistant into the assistant property management program, which was 5 minutes away from my job. All of this, why? Because somebody is trying to destroy me and is turning out for my good. That's why you can't be so caught up in what other people are doing. People gonna do what they want to do. They gonna say what they gonna say.
Yeah.
How are you going to handle this adversity? How are you going to deal with it? Now, mind you, I am, a mother of three at this time. I have three teenagers at home. I have my own home. I'm paying a mortgage. I have a car. I have insurance to pay for the car and the house. I have to pay the gas bill, the water bill, all the bills, the food bill, and I have to furnish the house. I got furniture that I got coming. I got a carpet that I just had fitted. I got to furnish these 4 bedrooms. I don't have time to be worrying about what you're doing. I'm over here focusing on what I'm doing. I'm trying to build a home for my children. Okay. All right. So they can always have somewhere to go. All right. And so you cannot get caught up in what other people are doing. The only person you can control is you. You're the only person that you can control. You can't control anybody else. You can't control what they say, their actions. I said your thought triggers your emotion. Your emotion triggers your feeling. Your feeling now is going to tell how you either going to react or respond. Nobody can make you feel anything. If I don't have a thought about what you're saying, it's not going to trigger an emotion. So this is how you navigate through, all of these, all of what looks like negativity. That's what it looks like. Right. Yes.
That's Miss Hudson.
Hey, Miss Hudson. I'm trying to tell this is my life I'm sharing. This is how I navigated all of this stuff. And this is the stuff that I learned from being abandoned. It does not have to be a negative thing. Neglect does not have to be a negative thing. What did neglect teach me? It taught me how to be by myself. It taught me how to be by myself. I am by myself. I am a single person who has gone through the healing process. God did not release me to share any of my testimony till after I've been gone through for 20 years. It didn't take 20 years, but I did not want to I wanted to come and share from a place of power. I didn't want to share and be bleeding all over everybody. I wanted to be fully whole. I mean, you ain't gonna never be fully whole, but leave 90%, maybe 85. I still got some stuff,
Be up there.
working on something. You know what I mean? And so it does not have to be a negative thing. It doesn't. You have to keep your mind positive. Yes, I know because I'm doing it and keep doing it. And positive doesn't mean you don't see the bad stuff that's going on. Being positive doesn't even mean you walk around being happy all the time. Being positive means you find the good. You find the good in every situation and you hold on to it. The word of God says, hold on to that which is good. My oldest son got married to this girl, and I didn't really know what was going on with her. It was a situation where a lot of times they come at you as the mom, like they threaten by you for something. They like want to fight against you, and you just be looking at them like, this is my son. Nothing's going to change the fact that that's my son. Like you coming in with this power struggle, it ain't no power struggle. He's my son. He's going to always be my son. I'm not going to fight over something that's already been assigned to me. And I remember I went in my car and I said, God, she's so disrespectful. I'm going to pick her up and throw over that balcony with her little self. And I said, God, you put good in everybody. Show me something good about this girl. And he did. And because I could hold on to that one good thing, it turned our relationship completely around. Because nothing and nobody is all bad. You got to find the good. You got to keep that positive, attitude. And it doesn't mean that that person is running you over. That's not what that means. It means that you are governing yourself accordingly in the situation, however messed up it might be. It caused me to get promoted. They moved me, put me on my own little property thing. The smallest one we have in Philadelphia is called Champlos Homes. They put me over there, and of course, the manager that worked there was upset. But you getting upset with me means what to me? Nothing. Why? Because I don't have a thought about it.
Hold
If I
on. Let me hop in. No, because I think what people want, and I've dealt with this a lot, it's like when people get upset at you, they want you to get upset so y'all can go at it. Those aren't my emotions. Those are your emotions that you have to deal with. Just because you mad about something don't mean I need to be mad with you. We're not the same person. This ain't no cult.
right,
So you be mad, and that's another thing. Like if you got beef with somebody or somebody got beef with you, that's emotion that they're holding on to. I'm
right,
not holding on to that anger. I'm not holding on to that resentment. If you were that upset, you come and talk to me about it. But you'd rather go and talk to other people and hope that it get back to me so I can go approach you to respond to it. I don't have time for that. You
nope,
take whatever attitude, whatever issue that you have, and stay over there with it.
yep.
It's not mine. It's not mine. I don't have to deal with that. It's not my emotion. You are in charge of your own emotions. I'm not in charge of trying to correct something that you thought because you didn't have all the information to begin with. I'm
Exactly.
good.
And that's what your perspective is. You don't have all the information.
Nope.
You don't. You do not have all the information. I didn't have all the information about my mother. So I was like, well, who knows her better than God except for her own mother? So let me go talk to her mama because her mama know how to deal with her. And it was my grandmother that taught me how to deal with my mother. And I got close to my grandmother. So that fostered a relationship with my grandmother. She said, protect your energy and peace at all times as well. Yes, even from a child. I don't know how I knew to do this stuff. I don't know how I knew to just not, take personally. Because we're talking, my mom was a battered woman.
Mm.
And I was her number one enemy. And she would have these episodes. We're not talking about she was fussing at you. I would get cussed out for hours. Sometimes I would get cussed out in front of the whole entire neighborhood. Her number one thing was to humiliate me and embarrass me at every chance she could get. And so I don't think what she realized what she was doing was that she was really building up a resilience and she didn't realize it. And she was really building up for me, I will almost like take the sound out of the room. Her mouth would be moving. I couldn't tell you what she said from that day to this day. It
Not
wasn't
Charlie
that I,
Brown, mama.
it wasn't that I ignored her. I just took the sound out the room. It was just no sound. It was, and I still can do it to this day. You could be talking to me, I could be looking right at you, and I don't hear a word that you are saying because it's almost like negativity does not register with me at all. It does not register. It just doesn't register. It's like, you know how the word of God says, put up your shield of faith? It's like it hits my shield and it falls to the ground. It doesn't touch me. Like negativity does not touch, and it burns people up because they think I'm supposed to be a certain way and I'm not. She said, I'm going through that now. I just keep my distance. This was my mom. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't really keep my distance from her. I had to live with this woman. I had to live with her.
I don't care what nobody say. That's a superpower. What? You
I
looking
think
at somebody while they talking and they
I
don't?
do believe it's some kind of anointing that I have that I don't know that I don't have a name for. Like I don't know how I was able to like just really do it, but I think it's because I could feel her pain. I could feel her suffering. I could feel her pain. I had a lot of empathy for my mom, and I just wanted her to be happy. I didn't want to be a source of, she said, I can't deal with that. And see, because I learned how to deal with it, it's helped me because now in my life, I'm being promoted on my job because I know how to deal with difficult people. You know what I mean? I'm in ministry. My pastor is assigning me difficult people because I learned how to deal with it. And because I learned how to deal with it, it puts me in a position that I can help those kind of people because they're the same kind of people that my mother was. You know what I mean? I was talking to a lady today and she was sharing some stuff with me. So it's like I had to deal with it. I didn't have any other choice but to deal with it. And it's like the more people try to do stuff against me, it never works. And I don't have to do anything because I'm not a revengeful person. I'm not a vindictive person. I'm a very straightforward person. If I don't like you, you're gonna know it. I'm gonna tell you straight to your face. Okay. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Don't smoke it. Throw it away. Whatever you do with it. You see what I'm saying? I tell you. So it built character. The self-reflection, it provides an opportunity for self-reflection, allowing you to gain insight. You need insight into your own strengths and the areas of growth. You do have to pray for haters, but see, they're your stepping stones. They're your stepping stones. He said, I make your enemies your stepping stones. They're your stepping stones. And let me tell you something about haters. Let me tell you something. I'm going to give you a good example. Your haters, sometimes they point out things that you would never consider. Sometimes when people say things, you be like, man, thank you for that. Like, I never would even have thought about that. Like, thank you. So, like, don't always discount the haters. Because a lot of times they see things and they picking up things because we got blind spots. They picking up things that you don't even like really see. They really do. Like, for an example, my son told me that somebody called me bitter. I'm not bitter. I'm not a bitter person. I went to God. I said, God, am I bitter? He said, no, I made you better. So as a result of that, guess what I did? I started a program just recently called Better, Not Bitter, the Divorce Recovery Network. Because now I'm going to offer another service to navigate women through the divorce process. And if I have to go to court with them to coach them on that, I'm qualified. Why? Because I've been through the court system for 10 years. Every adversity in your life can be turned around for your good. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is. And I laugh because that's how I'm wired. I do not see negativity. It does not affect me. Those words you say, they're going to get flipped. And now that I'm a businesswoman, they're going to get flipped for me to make some money because there's two activities I have: income producing activities and money making activities. And that's a money maker. And I said, man, I would have never thought of that I could monetize my divorce. I'm about to monetize it all because somebody said something. They projected how they felt because people don't know how to be single. They do. They don't know how to be single and happy with being single. They don't know how to do it. And so your haters will point things out that you don't even realize. It fosters empathy in me. I have empathy for other people because we winding down. Independence. It encourages me to rely on myself for my own emotional support and validation. You hear me say this all the time. Because I couldn't go to my mother for emotional support, I had to be my own emotional support. Because I couldn't go to my mother for validation, I had to validate myself. So now, as an adult, I don't look for external validation from anybody. From anybody. I am in an audience of one. It is only one person I have to please, and that's God. There's only one person that I answer to, and that is God. It is always God first. It is my faith, my family, and my business in that order. So stop saying somebody wasn't there for you. You be there for your show up for you. Show up for yourself. David said, I encourage myself in the Lord. Encourage yourself. I didn't have any emotional support. I don't ever recall my mother saying anything good to me. I don't ever recall her even ever giving me a compliment. And when other people would give me a compliment, she would get upset. When people would say, oh, your daughter, she's so beautiful, she's so smart, she's so this, that would bother her. Amen. He said, encourage yourself. Stop looking for external validation. You become a self-contained unit. I talk about this all the time. If you don't never tell me I'm beautiful, I can look in the mirror. I can see. I know what I look like. I know exactly what I look like. When you tell me what I already know about me, I say thank you and I keep it pushing. Because why? You don't make me and you can't break me. If my mother couldn't break me, nobody can't break me. You cannot break me. It fosters the independence. I'm my own emotional support. I encourage myself every day. When people are telling you what you didn't do and you didn't do this and you didn't do that and you should have did this, you should have did it this way, you should have did it that way. Okay, well, all right. I encourage myself. I find the goodness within myself because value is perceived. Everybody is not going to see your value. You have to see your value.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about your worth because you can't put your worth on a spreadsheet. You're priceless. The word of God says you are priceless. You were bought with a price. That means you're priceless. That means nobody can put a price on you. Slavery is over. You don't get to put a price on me. You don't. You do not. I'm priceless. People are not going to always see your value. They're not.
No. And you can't force them either.
It caused me to have a self-awareness. Rejection prompts self-awareness. It fosters a deeper understanding of your own values, your desires, and your aspirations. So it caused me to have a self-awareness, self-reflection, and then it caused me to look within myself for what I needed. I didn't look into for other people. So, when I'm in relationships, with men, they expect for me to lean on them for certain things, and I don't. But you have to take care of yourself holistically. Holistically. See, when we get married, we're supposed to be equally yoked. We got to be equally yoked, not just spiritually, financially, health wise, emotionally. You know what I'm saying? Physically, you have to take care of yourself holistically. Getting into a relationship, that doesn't mean that I'm leaning on you for certain things. It means I'm sharing who I am with you. I don't need to lean on you for emotional support. If you never put a dollar in my bank account, I have my own money. We're experiencing each other. People get into relationships, they looking for the person to be this and that and all of that. No, that's not how that go. It increased my emotional intelligence. Going through challenging experiences can enhance emotional intelligence by deepening understanding of emotion in both your own and others. It caused me to understand my own emotion. What is emotions? Energy and motion. My emotions are triggered by my thoughts. That's why you got to renew your mind. That's why the word of God says renew your mind, because you can't really think with your own mind. You need the mind of Christ, because our worldly mind is backwards. That's a lot of times why people don't see, we don't have people can't come together with you on perspectives, because they're thinking in a carnal, wicked, evil way with a distorted thinking mind, and you're thinking with the mind of God. Those two minds are never going to convalesce and commingle. So it's like, okay, let people think what they want to think. Let them do what they want to do. They don't have to agree with you. It got to a point where, when I was going through divorce and stuff, that I just was looking at this person like they was a madman. I wasn't gonna touch it. You want to run around looking like that? That's on you. That's what they got nothing to do with me. Stop allowing people to weaponize your words and then use your words against you as a reason for their bad behavior or a reason why they made a decision. You made that decision because you wanted to. It don't matter what I said or didn't say or how I said it or what how you perceived I said it and all of that. That's a roundabout way of people not taking responsibility for their own choices. When I came home after my divorce, I moved back to Philadelphia. I moved in with my mother. She had years prior, maybe a good 10 years prior, called me crying because she was getting kicked out because she's by herself. Her children are grown and she has to move. So she needs my children's birth certificates. Of course, my husband did not want me to send them. And of course, I normally do listen to my husband. But on this instance, I got to make sure mama ain't homeless. Fast forward. I am now divorced. No, I'm not divorced yet. I'm separated and I'm going home. I have three children. I'm going home. I have not, they're 9, 7, and 2. And I'm going back to Philly. She told me to get out every single day. Every day. Get out, get out, get out. Because I was cramping her little style. So one day, because she kept saying it in front of the children. So one day I said, Mom, respectfully as I absolutely could, because I never argued with my mother. I have never argued with my mother, not one time. I said, Mom, I'm not going anywhere. I said, if it wasn't for my children and you using their birth certificates, this 3-bedroom townhouse would not be yours. And if I go over to the office and tell them, they're going to make you leave. And I'm going to end up staying. And she never asked me to leave anymore. Now I could have blew all up at the words. I could have left and took my kids and been homeless, looking for a place to live, and held that grudge for the rest of my life. No, I did not allow the words that she was saying to affect me in any way, shape, or form. Those were her words. Those were her feelings. That was her perspective, and she's entitled to it. She's entitled. Could have used that and been out there in the street and all this crazy stuff could have happened to me and my children, and I could have been upset about it for the rest of my life. Using emotional intelligence is this story right here of what I'm telling you. It's responding instead of reacting when people try to dump all their emotions on you. You want to expound, Dante?
No, no, I was agreeing with you. That's really what it is. You unintelligent people, they react like, well, however they're feeling at that point in time. They just out, like, there's no thought process behind it. Whatever you're thinking, that's what you're saying. Whether it applies, whether it doesn't. Sometimes it does take that step back, let it marinate, let it process, and then you respond. But you respond in a non-emotional way.
Right.
Hey, here's what it is. Here's how it's going down. And this is what also was not going to happen. Like, no, emotional intelligence is something that a lot of us, not all of us, but we lack that. It's like, because you're taking the attack personal, when sometimes, again, it has nothing to do with you. This person feels some type of way, so it's being taken out on you, and then when you react, it in their mind, it justifies why they're doing what they're doing in the first place. But if you respond intelligently,
Yeah.
you're no longer playing their game.
Yeah. So emotional intelligence is your ability to like really manage your emotions in relation to somebody else emotions that they're trying to, because it's energy being transferred. That's what emotion is energy in motion. So they're trying to push their energy off on you, and you're saying, no, I'm going to manage my own emotions, because I could have got really, really upset. I am going through a separation and divorce itself is very stressful. And your children, you're moving them. Normally, if I move, I wait till they get out of school, but we're in the middle of the school year. This is January. And, I done took my children out of school. So that's a transition that they're going through. I have to find a job. I'm back home after 12, 14 years of being married. And it's tough on all of us. and you're telling me every single day to get out after you told me to come home, and every single day you're telling me to get out. So if I would have matched her, as they say, if I would have matched her energy, we would have been going at it.
Man,
But because I manage my own emotions, my emotional intelligence, I manage my own emotions instead of reacting to her, I responded. And because I responded to her, it shut the whole situation down. The intelligence came is something that my grandmother taught me. She always told me to deal with your adversaries intelligently. So when people, when people be going low, you go low, I'm going to go low too. No, I respond to you intelligently because a lot of times the conflict that you're dealing with is at your job. You can't knuck if you're booked at the job. You be fine. So you have to now pull on your intelligence and you have to manage your emotions. And really, what it does, it makes that person look real stupid for real. It really does. When somebody is all up in arms, they all upset, they fussing and cussing and don't have no basis. Like you've never seen your grandchildren because we've been traveling around. You never got it. This is a time for you to spend time with your grandchildren. You over here acting like a fool in front of your grandchildren when this is an opportunity that you could be spending with them for them to get to know you. But because she had trauma and hurt and her own pain, people don't have awareness of that. You know what I mean? All she know was I guess I was in her way because she couldn't do her drugs and her friends and stuff couldn't come and hang out at the house and stuff like that. And so I was cramping her style. And so I just intelligently said to her, what was the facts? I had to just remind her, like, if it wasn't for my children, you wouldn't even have a 3 bedroom townhouse, even to be in. And so we have to raise our emotional intelligence and understand that people are going to think what they think, they're going to say what they say, they're going to do what they do, but it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with me because you're a cheater and a liar. That's a character flaw that you have. That doesn't mean that I have to go tit for tat and I have to go and do the same thing. Emotional intelligence is going to dictate that I respond intelligently to the situation. How am I going to conduct myself where it's going to turn out in my favor, in the favor of my family, and that pleases God? Remember, I'm an audience of one. Okay, I'm not even caring nothing about what you talking about or what you doing. You can say about me whatever it is that you want to say, because whatever it is you saying, those words are seeds. They're gonna come back and to you. Those are seeds you're sowing that you're going to reap. It has nothing to do with me. My shield of faith is always up. Negativity does not touch me. I'm telling you, and it never did. I done been called some of everything, but now that I'm a businesswoman, I know how to make money off of it. So the last one is stronger interpersonal relationships. Going through rejection and abandonment can lead a better understanding of yourself, allowing more authentic and fulfilling connections with others. And this is also a great skill on your job to have interpersonal skills. A lot of people don't have interpersonal interpersonal skills. They just don't. They don't have interpersonal skills. So I just wanted to share with you guys my testimony of some of the things that I dealt with, how I turned rejection and abandonment into, took those adversities and turned them into strengths. And now, as a full-grown adult, I'm really monetizing all of that stuff. I'm monetizing all of it. I'm already ordained minister, but because I haven't really been operating like in certain areas, like when you're ordained, you are allowed to marry people. So now I'm going to be doing marriage coaching. I'm going to be doing marriage coaching. I'm going to be doing, I came up with a program for that. And I already do single, but I'm going to do it in a different way because I really want to teach people how to be single successfully. I want you to be single and happy. because you don't have to be bitter. Now, in the beginning, when I first got divorced, you might have been right because I was angry, ready to kill somebody. Because nobody ever gets married with the intent of being divorced. That's why this single mom thing is getting on my nerves because nobody has a baby and then want to raise the baby by themselves. These men do not want to take care of these children. That's why they be tripping about their child support. They do not want to pay no child support because they don't want the responsibility of these children. They don't. And we need to really support each other, in our journeys, and we need to share our stories. How did you get through this? How did you get through that? Because I had to navigate this stuff from pretty much a young little kid all the way up into adulthood, but it doesn't have to be negative. I want you to just think about your situation, and I want you to find the good in it. It's some good in there. And if you know how to pray, ask God to show you and hold on to that with that thing which is good. And it's going to turn the whole situation around in your favor. Like this has opened up a whole different avenue, for me, to help women that I never even considered. All because of somebody projecting how they feel about themselves because they don't understand how to be successfully single. They don't know how to be single and be like, oh no, she ain't happy. She just lying. I get all kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But it's like you don't have to look at rejection as rejection. You can look at it as protection and direction. And abandonment is just showing you how to be by yourself. Because when you stand before God, whether you believe in God or not, ain't nobody gonna be there but you. Your mom ain't gonna be there, your children, they not gonna be there. You came into this world by yourself. You got to learn how to walk through certain situations. We put too many expectations on people. My mother couldn't give me what it is that I needed. I had to learn how to give it to myself. Close this out, Dante.
Nothing you just did, but I'm gonna comment on something that you said earlier, and I promise you, I hate this. Um, Stop matching people's energy if it's low. Ain't no purpose. It's like we're so quick to match energy when someone does something petty or does something to get over on you, but we're not quick to match energy where this person can give you growth. This person can give you something that you may be missing and are lacking.
Yeah.
We'll match the low energy, but we won't match the high. Nah, it's time for a change. We match the high energy.
Yeah.
About that's it. That's all I got. I got nothing.
All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We will be back next week. Love you.
Now,
Thank
the week
you.